So I decided to make this recording. I don't know what came over me, but about things that stick out in my mind that happened in my life, like important events, funny events, happy times. Yeah, so let me share some of those. One of the things, I don't know if I shared this earlier, but one of the things that was a pretty profound experience for me was the 1 year anniversary of 9/11. So, Louisiana donated a fire truck to the New York Fire Department. I think it was called the Spirit Truck or something. And me and my partner flew up to New York in uniform to represent the department and just, be supportive. And we were in uniform, like I said, and we happened to be walking through Midtown one day, and some of the firemen in this particular fire station saw us, and they said, hey, they called us over, and we got to talking. They made fun of my partner because she has a Cajun accent, and then we made fun of them because they don't know how to say coffee. They were saying coffee. You want some coffee? And we're like, what are you saying? What are you offering us? Well, then they ended up getting a call, and they said, jump on the truck. And we're like, what? And they said, yeah, come ride with us. So that was really cool. We got to ride with them. They actually let us take pictures of what they call the Forbidden Wall. So the morning of 9/11, they have these two boards up on the wall where they use it's like a dry eraser board, where they write all the names of the crew members that are going to be on the fire engine, the ladder truck, the battalion truck, but all the crew members. It's like the schedule. And that morning, everybody from this particular fire station responded to the Twin Towers, and none of them made it home to their families. And so the Forbidden Wall basically means they don't allow people to take pictures of it. They let us, though, and they never erased the schedule from that morning, and they said they never will. It will remain up there as long as the fire station's there. It's really cool. When we went to the ceremony, so they had a ceremony, for the 1 year anniversary. Robert De Niro was reading all the names. Well, the public is not allowed to cross the barrier to go to Ground Zero. But the firemen were like, you're coming with us. You're one of us. You're coming with us. And we're like, no, we'll stay on this side of the barrier just out of respect. And they said, no, ma'am, you're coming with us. So we went to Ground Zero. It was... I was anticipating, I didn't really want to go. I didn't want to fly up there, but because I'm so sensitive to energy, I was like, man, this is going to be intense. But it wasn't. It was extremely peaceful. And I started seeing, I'll just be honest, when I saw it, because it's weird. I could see in my mind this woman standing there in this short sleeve, kind of thin pink cashmere sweater. And then I realized, oh my gosh, I'm seeing some of the things that happen. And she's standing, and she's in one of the upper floors. And all of a sudden, she looks up. She kind of like tenses up, and then the tower collapsed. But here's what I saw: the souls of most of those people. The souls were pulled from their bodies before the collapse happened. And I just think that was a really merciful thing that happened. I've seen that happen with plane crashes and stuff. But, was there fear and all of that? Absolutely. But what I completely felt was most people were in fight or flight, right? So when you're in fight or flight mode, you're not feeling anything. You're just in survival mode. But I was really shocked that I kept seeing that, glimpses of things. I even wrote it down. I have tons of stuff that I saw, but I was really surprised at how peaceful I felt. So anyway, we're standing there, and I was moving my foot around on the ground because there was something reflecting up at me. And they clearly had not cleaned all of Ground Zero. And I kneeled down and I realized there's like a piece of a mirror. It looked like something like granite, so probably a countertop, but it was so surreal to pick this tiny shard of glass up that you knew was probably in one of their public bathrooms that's now just almost dust. I am going to add some pictures from that day. It was a beautiful, beautiful ceremony. Here's what was so cool about it too. So Robert De Niro read all of the names, and you can see. I'll try and find some pictures that show the sky. It's a clear blue sky, not a cloud in the sky. Absolutely perfect weather. Well, right after he read the last name, all of a sudden these raindrops started falling, and they're massive raindrops, and they weren't even like right together. It was like, every 12 inches apart, and they just fell for like a minute, and it was just enough to knock the dust down, and then it stopped. And we were all looking up, like, and my sister was at home in Louisiana, and she watched it on TV, and I remember calling her, and she said she could see it on the TV, like the raindrops. And it was just so wild, because that was a divine thing that happened. That just wasn't a coincidence. There's not a cloud. And it was just enough to knock the dust down and let everybody feel the experience of that. It was just a spiritual experience. It was really cool. I have a picture that I took of one of the firemen that was holding a rose. Because you remember, the fire company that we were riding with lost all of their people. And a lot of the firemen they're related to each other. So, I sat and talked with one of the guys that lost his brother, and it was just surreal. I mean, the way we were treated was absolutely beautiful. And the other thing that was so cool was how people came together. All of the fire stations, when you walk by, they had flowers, outside. Look, when we got on the train, the subway, we were just going up a couple of miles instead of taking a cab. This lady came and kneeled down in front of us and started crying and said, "Thank you so much for your service." And I said, "Thank you." I said, "We're not from here." And she said, "It doesn't matter." And when we went to eat breakfast, when we went to eat lunch, when we went to eat dinner, 3 meals a day, right? I don't think we ate breakfast, but we did eat a couple of meals a day. We never paid for any of it. Like, people would just pay for our meal. And then we said something about wanting to go see this Broadway show. And we did. We went. And it was, a few hours after the ceremony. Well, Anne Heche was the leading actress in it. And we went in uniform because we were, we just gone to the ceremony. And after the play was over, she came up and talked to us. I'll post those pictures. Rest in peace, Anne. But she was so kind. Everybody was. What was so amazing was how people just took care of each other. It was beautiful. Tragedy brings people together like that. But that was an amazing experience. It wasn't what I thought it would be. Seeing the wall with all this, where people had signed it, and all the missing people's names, and all the people that died. It was just, wow. And then being able to ride with the firemen, and they were so fun. We got on the truck. I think the first call was a fire alarm, and then they had a medical call at the Empire State Building. But after we rode with them, we were probably on their unit for about an hour and a half, and they said, "We need to go grab something at the little market, for lunch." And what they did, so we're in the big the ladder truck. They just pull up next to this curb, and they hit their air horn, and they make everybody move their cars. They're like, "Move your car." And they just took the parking spot. I'm like, dang. And everybody gladly did it. But I have a picture I'll post with me and some of the firemen, and you can see, so I'm 5'8". You can see just how big these guys are. They're towering over me. So there were some that were 6'8". I'm like, damn. So when all was said and done and we were leaving, they said, "Y'all need to come work with us. You need to just move to New York and work with us." And they were picking on us, and they said, what's your chief's name? Well, they ended up sending a fax to our chief in Louisiana and telling him that they stole us and we weren't coming back, and they could just go ahead and send our final paycheck because they hired us there. And just sweet, they were just really kind. And then when we left, they gave us one of the T-shirts that was the memorial T-shirt that they do not give to the public, but they all hugged us and said, pass it on, thank you for the truck and for the donation of that, but especially for lifting our spirits today, because we laughed, and they said, thank you for lifting our spirits today, even though we didn't understand a damn word y'all said. I said, y'all can understand me, and they said, well, yeah, a little bit from you, but not from this one. And she was giggling, it was just, they were being playful, it was fun. But then it was really cool that they gave us one of the T-shirts and the Forbidden Wall pictures. And I'll post them. I asked them if I could share that, and they said that it would be okay. But that was a really, really amazing, surreal, humbling experience. I ended up working with a guy that worked in New York. He was a paramedic in New York, and he worked during 9/11. He helped with the cleanup and everything. And he ended up moving to Louisiana when we had, was it a hurricane or something? There was something, I think a hurricane. So we went up there to help them. And then I think it was Hurricane Katrina, when that hit, he came down to Louisiana to help us. And he never left. But he told me a lot. He shared a lot about what happened and what the experience was like. And man, it's wild, And I've also done readings for people who were in the buildings that obviously escaped before they came down, but they were there. And it was really wild to talk to them about that and hear what it was like. So, I find that stuff, I love hearing people's stories. And what I love the most about tragic events is how people come together. Just like in Baton Rouge when the 2016 flood happened, when Hurricane Katrina happened, when Hurricane Gustav happened, all of those things. They're just, people come together. Speaking of Gustav, I'll have to tell you all about my experience with Hurricane Gustav. I don't think I talked about that yet. I'll make another recording.